So, Pikmin 4, after, what, 2 years, finally gets an update. However, no one said it was going to be a big one. Alright, let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome to Mood News. I'm your host for today, Madz. Well, I guess I'm the host most Mood Newses, if not all. It's been a min. Do you know what else is min? Pikmin. That's correct, guys. And Pikmin 4 and something else got a Pikmin update. It was Pikmin Bloom. It's not that big of a surprise. Pikmin 4's update is dropping in November, and we don't really have a specific date for that. And Pikmin Bloom update is whenever. It's probably already released. It's a mobile game. Usually they don't really do a big hype up, you know, pitch for mobile games, do they? Has anyone experienced that? No. You know, you just get, oh, Angry Birds Part 2. Okay, yeah, I'll install that. But, alright, let's go over what's actually new in these updates. So with Pikmin 4, this update includes 3 main things. The first is a brand new photo mode, which I thought was in the game already, I guess, but maybe that was a Mandela effect. I think previous Pikmin games, like Pikmin 3 and 3 Deluxe, both had photo modes. So it's nice that this finally gets one. I remember, well, I guess I don't remember people complaining about it, but maybe I do. I'm really unsure. I thought this was really in the game already, but hey ho. If you like taking photos in video games, that one's for you. But what if you're not? What if you're not really into, you know, framing a good rule of thirds and landscapes? Chloe, whatever. Sorry, I'm not a photographer. What if you're not into that? Well, don't you worry, because for you gamers and non-gamers alike, some new difficulty modes have been introduced. Creature activity levels is what it's called. And I'm pretty sure this is something which appears when you start up the game, seeing that the screenshot shows like a faded main menu. So I'm assuming, you know, you click new game and then you choose the activity level. And then if you ever want to change that for whatever reason, maybe like, oh, you know what, I do want to sort of chillax for this play of Pikmin, or maybe you're like, oh, I'm up for a bit of a different challenge, or maybe I just want to play the game how it was initially. You can do that just by going into the settings or the options or the menus, whatever word you want to describe it, and give it a bit of a change. But what are these modes? Well, the first, which they showed off, was relaxed. Now this has one little flame next to it, and what this is the creatures won't attack you unless provoked. So it's not like Minecraft peaceful mode where, you know, they just don't appear, because that's sort of how the game is already right now, is that like if you return to a location after you've been there and you've destroyed a bunch of enemies, they're not going to be there again. So I'm really hoping that when you change to one of these modes, or if you change off to one of them, they change that so you can go back to the areas and, you know, see the enemies or challenge them on again, because they also showed off the idea of relaxed mode, being able to go up to the creatures and take little photos with them. It's sort of like this sort of, you know, segue from the photo mode into that. It seems like a sort of a useful way of being immersed in the world of Pikmin. But if all the creatures are dead, it's not really going to be that useful of a mode. So really hoping that they do change that. And then moving on, we also have Fierce, which is basically, I think, like a hardcore, extra difficult mode is what it seems, which sounds really exciting. Because I remember a lot of people complaining about the difficulty of Pikmin 4, at least like the main game, the main story, versus, you know, not including all the little side quests and side missions and such. So that's really, really exciting. And even with relaxed mode, they're not only attacked when provoked, but also all the creatures are less difficult to kill. And then the same thing goes for Fierce mode, but in the opposite direction, where I'm assuming they're aggro to you more, as well as the fact that they're really difficult to destroy and carry back to the onions. Anyways, that's a very exciting feature which is going on with that. And then lastly is this new system which they're introducing to Pikmin 4 using Decor Pikmin. Now these first appeared in Pikmin Bloom and were like these little funny little versions of a Pikmin which you could get, similar to, like, I guess they're like the shiny Pokemon version for Pikmin, where they're like these little special Pikmin wearing a hat. How exciting. Hashtag Team Fortress 2. Anyways, though, it seems like they managed to take that idea, which was, you know, sort of become popular with Pikmin Bloom and makes the Pikmin look all cute and funny and silly, and apply that to Pikmin 4, where there's almost like this hide and seek element where you go out into one of the zones and you're given a screenshot of where the Pikmin might be, and then you go and find them, and then they join your squad and you collect them in like a little encyclopedia about the Decor Pikmin, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, there's some cross-platform elements where you can take this Decor Pikmin you find in the game and transfer them over to Pikmin Bloom, which gets us on to the next big Pikmin update, which is Pikmin Bloom itself, which finally, after it being like data mined for over a year, Ice Pikmin are finally being introduced to Pikmin Bloom, which is pretty fun, pretty exciting. Of course, I do find Ice Pikmin a bit strange, or just like the new types they introduced in Pikmin 4 a bit strange, because if you look at Pikmin 2 and Pikmin 3, you know, you've got the purple and the white, and then the rock and the winged, and both of those are sort of just as equally as important to each other, and they also like mirror each other, and that's still the same case with Pikmin 4, with the Ice Pikmin mirroring the rock and purple, and the Glow Pikmin mirroring the winged and the white. But the Glow Pikmin is like, you know, it's sort of like an easy mode Pikmin, which only appears in the night expeditions. And so, you know, there's this weird disconnect where like, I just don't think they're as memorable, or they just don't fit the rest of the Pikmin cast very much. Obviously because they only appear at night and everything else. Oh, and in caves. My bad. I'm sorry, Pikmin fans. So like, will they just never appear in Pikmin Bloom ever? Or like, what's the deal with those? Rather strange, and I feel like maybe, you know, maybe this is a controversial take, but maybe they should have done like a different Pikmin type instead of the Glow Pikmin for like a marketing purpose or something, just because it doesn't seem like they're using the Glow Pikmin nowhere near as much as all the others. I mean, really the same for the Ice, but Ice is sort of like almost rare, I guess, or they don't really just use them that often. I mean, I still love the designs for both, but I don't know, it's just a weird thing I've seen. But maybe, you know, maybe it's just because they're fresh and because they're new, and over time we'll see them more and more, such as right now, seeing the Ice Pikmin finally come to bloom. But here is a bigger question, which is more in line with the update. I called it Pikmin sized for a reason, and that's because it's very, very small. You know, it's these 3 little features, and it's dropping next month. We don't really have a specific date. And on top of that, there's something about it that's really, really odd. With all these new updates for these games, usually we get something like, oh, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition. With this one, it's not. It is just a free update, and we don't even get something like how we did in Splatoon 3, where it was immediately updated to run at 4K or 60 FPS or whatever with the new Switch 2 hardware. That is not mentioned anywhere in this trailer, and the footage still looks sort of choppy like how it's running on a Switch 1 console. And so this can mean 2 things. Either we're not getting a Switch 2 version of Pikmin 4, you know, we're just getting the small little update, and then we're getting a Pikmin 5 or something down the road, or we are getting a Pikmin 4 Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and they're just taking their time with it and adding a lot more stuff, you know, maybe like a little expedition quest or something with the main 3 captains from Pikmin 3, or something along those lines could be really, really fun. I don't really want to get my hopes up too much with that, but it is just very interesting and peculiar that they would drop this update, you know, show things about Pikmin, remind people about Pikmin, but not really do this extra push to just make it available or useful for Nintendo Switch 2 users. And really it's probably a case of they want people to pay like that extra $10 or whatever for the upgrade whenever it comes out with the Nintendo Switch 2 version. But Nintendo Switch 2 edition games are so weird, right? Because they're like half DLC, half just upgrade packs, and you know, some of them feel worthwhile and feel like they have a lot of stuff to offer, but then others are just really not that much, you know, just like a tiny little changes here and there, and obviously running on better hardware through like, you know, a quick freshly squeezed update. So it does seem like an interesting strategy for Nintendo to hold off on like doing these big Nintendo Switch 2 edition things for the games. But obviously, here's the case of where it becomes frustrating for the user, because if you're a Pikmin 4 fan and you're waiting to replay the game on your brand new hardware, which you've already bought for Switch 2, and you want to play the game crispy at 4K 60 FPS, getting an update like this is a little bit souring, you know? Like, I would have thought that, oh, as soon as I've gotten this console, this was sort of before the Switch 2 was officially revealed, or, you know, in the months between January and April before the Direct, where you're thinking, oh, it'd be so fun to have all these existing games, which I have already, and being able to play them high quality, 60 FPS, run smoothly. And of course, they all do to a certain extent, like they all play a bit faster, they load faster, all of that good stuff. But having these updates sort of like slowly rolled out it's sort of like directing all of the users to play these games at certain times and sort of, again, create that idea of like these momentum pushes. And it's really smart sort of like business-wise, because it's a case of like, oh, okay, it's time to play the new Pikmin game. Everyone's sort of playing this, and also everyone's dipping, you know, $5 or $10 for this upgrade. Versus the case of like, oh, I just got this brand new console. Oh, I'm going to play this. Oh, I'm going to go do this. Oh, I'm going to go play that, and be more scatterbrained. And I don't know, yeah, having updates like this, it's sort of just a bit odd because it does give that momentum. It does give that push to return and try out this game again. But, you know, if it's going to feel sort of half-baked if it's still running sort of crunchy on Switch 2. And of course, this is only specific for people who are Switch 2 users. If you're a Switch 1 owner and you don't have a Switch 2 yet, I'm very curious what you think of updates like this. Like, are you sort of relieved that this isn't a Switch 2 update where all these features are exclusive to like some $10 upgrade and you haven't got the $450 console yet? Let me know. I'd be really curious on what you guys have to say. But yeah, it's an interesting strategy to say the least, and I'd be really curious to hear what you guys have to think about it. Anyways, glad to be back. Mood News is hopefully going to return somewhat consistently. I'll try my best. Been a bit of a weird couple months, guys. I shan't lie. If you are interested in hearing what I've been up to and all that, let me know. Maybe I'll do a quick little personal update thingy, or maybe not. You know, I'm not a huge fan of that sort of stuff, but maybe I'll just chuck it on a future Mood News episode whilst I'm hard at work on the main channel stuff yet again. Anyways, I'll love you and leave you. Goodbye.